You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Tap House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Company, Guaneri's Pizzeria, EFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
Hello and welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Each week we try to bring you clips from the week's previous game, and we ask local official Mark Cisco to weigh in on some of those thoughts. Mark, thanks for being here.
Zach, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Mark, good, fun game on Friday night, St. Mary's and Kenton. Of course, it's always good and fun when St. Mary's comes up on the winning side.
Yep.
But lots of plays, and so we've got lots of clips. Before we jump into those clips, I guess, is there anything going on in the official world, bulletins, anything out there that's kind of floating around?
I've been kind of out of touch. I spent last week in Wisconsin, so I was watching you guys on Rider Nation Station, and I didn't think the game was ever going to end. It took forever. But, you know, when you throw the ball around like Kenton does, it's going to take some time. So
very long first half, and we thought, man, we may be here till 1 in the morning. But second half went a lot quicker.
Well, when you have a running clock, that happens sometimes.
Well, let's go ahead then and jump into some of the clips, and we'll pause halfway through, and then we'll come back with the rest of them. So this first one, Mark, was an early in the game, Kenton passing over the middle, and just was wondering if you thought that if you could tell, it's a little hard to see, but whether this was a catch or not. Because it looked like the ball kind of fell out there.
I would probably, if it was loose there, that would probably be a no catch. I mean, obviously we're looking at it from the back side. You know, did he have possession of it? Look, he's kind of, maybe he has it, maybe not. It looks like it might have come loose right there. The umpire has no look at it, so it looks like the head lineman's coming in, and did they rule it a catch?
They ruled it a catch.
Okay, well, maybe he kept possession of it.
I guess that was my question, too. Did he have it long enough that they said that was a catch and then a fumble?
Well, you know, if it comes out, then we're probably going to rule. Maybe it never came out. Maybe he had his hands on it as he's turned away from us. We don't know. If he's bobbling it, it goes down, and the ball's loose when it hits the ground, it's a no-catch situation.
Okay. This next play was O-line flinch here, and I think they did call this one. You can see St. Mary's points it out.
It's always good when you get help by the defensive guys because, we're looking at it, we're like, what happened, who did what, and you can see that it looks like the guard of the tackle is looking at the center going, what, snap the ball, or what's the deal here?
Yeah.
So he must have moved, and the St. Mary's kids were good enough to help the official, call it. And normally when they point, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
so
I think
tough for us to see. But
I think it might have been that right guard, just a real little flinch. You can see right there, just kind of like leans back just a bit.
Just a punch. And, yeah,
now, one reason I bring that up is because you'll see here in a second that I don't think it was called maybe across the board every time.
Okay, all right.
This play was early in the game. I thought it was a clear face mask.
That looks, from my vantage point, to be a face mask. They're stopping the clock. Did they flag that?
They did not flag it.
Not. So we've got a clock stoppage, but the official's stopping the clock for some odd reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the clock.
But there was no flag or anything along those lines.
There was no face mask.
That would have been a 15-yarder because he clearly has a hold of it. Looks like right there, and will pull on it and twist it a little bit. So that's enough for a personal foul in 15 yards.
A couple times in the game, this next play, the center was called for a chop block. I think this is the high-low type of block thing again.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
They used both terminology. They called it a chop. The official on the field called it a chop block.
Let's see. The center snaps it, goes down. Yeah, it looks like we've got – now, if the center would have made that block straight off the line and there would have been no contact by the guard there, you'd have been fine. But that little helper play, when both of them are involved, one up, one down, that is a chop block, and that is illegal.
Guard needs to stay off of that. Nose guard need to look maybe to a linebacker or something.
Yes, yep. That's correct. And it was a good call by the officials.
Unfortunately, the center gets the penalty on that, but it's really not his fault on that. We know
probably not his fault. It would be the second guy.
The guard's really supposed to block that. Okay, so there's a couple.
Oh, there was two of them.
There's two flinches here. This is what I was talking about. I thought these were much more obvious flinches that were uncalled, and Kenton certainly did too.
Yeah, we're looking.
I think you look at the left tackle for St.
I
Mary's.
think you're right, because we see a little bit of a, yep,
lean.
Yep.
And then a second one there.
and then a second one. So the officials had 2 chances to get that right and didn't catch it. That should have been, was this crew a 6-man crew or a 5?
I think just a 5.
Okay. Doesn't matter. The referee would have been on the opposite side. He would have been on the wide side, but the umpire's looking in there. That should have been called. St. Mary's got away with one there.
This was a nice example of how to throw a blindside block, but not
Okay.
get a penalty for it.
Okay.
So you'll see this little kind of like end around reversal there, and watch the St. Mary's player right there, 58.
That was if he would have used his hands, that would have been fine with the hands. He didn't, he just got in the way. So there's really not that's not really a blindside block, truthfully. He's just standing there. The defender runs into him. You can't call a foul on something like that. It was a good job by the St. Mary's kid. Although he could have used his hands, he would have been fine.
I just thought it was I thought it was good, because you just never know when these
He's
are getting...
been coached on that.
Yeah.
Probably, and
you never know when these are getting called anymore. I mean, I know you say that, but sometimes we see those getting called where we think that's part of the play.
Right. That was a good job, him getting in the way, and the defender's coming and the defender gets knocked down. I think there was a little bit of Academy Award-winning type falling there, soccer style, by the defender, but it was a good no call.
Yeah, and a good block without even having to use his hands.
Correct.
This next call was at the end of the first half. St. Mary's takes a shot into the end zone, and it makes the catch, but they called it out of bounds. We were able to see on Rider Nation Station, I think his feet was in bounds. I guess my question is, the official called it out of bounds, but is he not determining that whether it was he needs to make the catch and then have possession all the way to the ground, or by him saying it's just out of bounds, is he saying that it was a controlled catch? It just was out of bounds.
What he would be saying there is that when the receiver touched the football, the receiver was already out of bounds, either touching the end line or wherever. Was he not? The back judge is standing right there, and he doesn't appear to be blocked. And his main focus at that point would be feet and then ball. And he should have both of them in his line of sight because he's far enough away. He's got good position. So, it's for us here, we're running it back. Touch, is he in or out? That left foot might have been out. Don't know. You may have a look on replay that would overturn it, but unfortunately in high school football, at least in the regular season, replay is not available to us.
Right, and I think that's definitely a very hard call to make.
It's tough right there. Yeah. If you'd have had another set of eyes in the corner, maybe it'd been different, maybe not.
Well, this next play, this was the final play of the second half. Then that was the second to last play. This was the final play. St. Mary's tried a hook and ladder over here to the left. Player tossing it backwards was hit right as that hook and ladder happened. And there was you can see at the end of the play, there was a flag called for holding. We didn't see anything on the run back that would have called for it. But if you see from this angle, what I'm wondering is if you look keep going there a little bit. If you look to the left, the running back that was supposed to receive the ball gets sort of tackled right there.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that was what the call was for.
That probably could be. By that time, the official's already downfield, and he's not going to, be behind that play. He started downfield, knowing, I better get moving. And right now everything looks good, but the defender there, he takes down the St. Mary's back right there. That's a hold. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Does it matter that the ball has not changed possessions yet? Because it didn't look like the Kenton player had grabbed the ball yet when he was...
Yeah, it really doesn't matter at that point because the ball's free and you're restricting someone else of picking it up. So he's got his hands on it right now. He's taking him down. Yeah, if that's what he's calling, that's a good call right there. Yeah.
Yep. We got another angle of it too, which is interesting just to kind of see the side of that.
Oh, they're playing. Yeah.
So we have the just a kind of a short 10-yard stop, toss the ball back, ball goes flying. We're not able to see that. We can kind of see it right there on the left side.
That sure
but
looks
watch
like
where the official throws the flag, way back there on the 40-yard line.
Oh, do we have something else going on downfield?
That's why I couldn't see anything, and Joe and I even in the broadcast watched it a few times and didn't see anything. Fortunately, it's at the end of the second half, so it was called against Kenton. It was just declined by St. Mary's in the half ended.
Oh, he had a block in the back here along the sideline. That's what he had. If you watch in the scrum of players that's trying to follow this play, Kenton players in chase mode, and right up there right there is a push.
Just a little push.
And it was enough.
Gotcha.
And yeah, he'd have been better off just staying off of it.
Yeah.
That was the foul was for.
And I think that there were actually 2 fouls called. I think they called holding. I think somebody else had thrown a flag on the holding and that block in the back. They were both declined and the half was over.
But you make a good point about the foul happening prior to the change of possession, because if that happens, St. Mary's will decline the block in the back downfield. And if the ball was loose when the foul happened back upfield, they could take that one.
And they could have got another shot at the end zone.
And they would have had another shot at the end zone.
Wow.
So it's a matter of when the foul occurred, before the change or not, because technically, until Kenton picks it up, it's still in St. Mary's possession, still their football.
Right.
So if the foul happens then, they could go back and have another shot at it.
Very interesting. Well, It wasn't called that way, but it would have been interesting if that happened. So,
sure.
Mark, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have a few more clips here from the game. So we'll be back right after this.
You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Dollars TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Chef Auto Sales, Tech House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Rooch Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Gwinnett Pizzeria, EFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. We're going to jump right back into the clips, Mark. This one was, Joe and I thought, an obvious fumble.
Okay.
Not called that way, though, on the field. Nice pass over the middle. As he's coming down, before he touches the ground, that ball is rolling out.
They ruled forward progress.
Okay.
That's Joe's sitting behind our engineer, throwing his hands in the air. That's what they ruled right there, because he gets hit, pushed back, progress. They're going to rule him stopped.
Okay.
Down here. So anything that happens that is a dead football.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense than saying that it wasn't a fumble.
Yeah. I mean,
it looked pretty obvious from us.
He was going backwards. He wasn't getting out as much as, I'm in the corner of the writers all the way, but that was a good call right there.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe, but you tell it like I see it. So there you go.
A couple plays later, this was a pass interference call on St. Mary's. I didn't see it.
I didn't see anything there. Now, unless it happened earlier in the sequence where we don't have a look at that receiver the whole way down.
There's like a little bit of grabbing, I guess, right there.
If there was a restriction, if there was a jersey stretch there and the back judge caught it, okay, I'll go with that. But the handout doesn't necessarily mean pass interference.
There's defensive holding in high school?
There is.
Okay.
I mean, you can hold, but that would have to have occurred before the ball was in the air.
Yeah.
So once it's in the air like this, now what you've got is a pass right there, and if there's contact and there was a grab at this point, that would be. We see it looks like a little bit of a grab, and that was enough for the back judge to see, and it's enough.
Yeah.
Good call by the back judge.
We're going to jump right into a next play, another close catch that looked like maybe he trapped it a little bit. It's really hard to see on our angle here, though, but I guess you could maybe look at the referee's position and see and kind of talk to what they're looking at with the play. So plenty of opportunities with Kenton to always see these type of catches. St. Mary's certainly thought that it had hit the ground.
It's tough for us to see that. Let's see if we can get a look again. Of course, St. Mary's is going to come up, and they're going to want that hit in the ground, obviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
Really hard to see.
When in doubt on a situation like that, you're going to give them the catch. That's what our mechanics tell us. When it's as tough as that, is it on the ground there without the hands underneath it? Could very well be. And the back judge, as you can see, he can't really see it. And the wing guy that's on this side, he's nowhere to be found, and he really doesn't have to be. But nobody says it's incomplete, so they're going to say, "Oh, well, it must be a catch," and we move on.
Hopefully we get some of those calls on our side at some point. Another over-under chop block called on the center guard again. And I can see here it does look like the guard is kind of pushing that guy again in front of him.
Yeah, the center's fine, but when you have contact with two of them right there, and unfortunately the Riders have a bit of a reputation for the center doing what it is, so the umpire's going to look for that.
Right.
And they've just got to – the guard's got to get off that and move on to something else.
Yeah, he just can't touch them at all. It's unfortunately going to be called too much. Next play was a punt return, and they called a block in the back on St. Mary's. We, during the game, could not figure out.
You know what? I think I saw that play specifically on Raider Nation Station, and I couldn't figure out where it was either. So we're fine there. We're still fine. Now, 12 is in chase mode, so is 10, all right? But I don't – if they called it on 12, I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Again, I'm not on the field, so I don't know for sure. Right there, we're fine. We're fine because we're engaged, and the defender turns, right?
Yeah.
24 turns. So there was no contact after that. So the problem here is you have to see the entire block to make that call. If you don't see the entire block, then you can't make that call. And I think that's what happened. I think the defender turned, and the official caught contact when the St. Mary's kid was still in contact with him, but the defender had turned from a good block, and the St. Mary's block was just a continuation of the earlier one. So it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
This one was center snapped it without the rest of the line moving, and I talked to Joe. Is that they called it a false start on the center? Then should it have been a false start on the center, or should it have been?
That's interesting. They called a snap infraction. It looks like the snap is good. I mean, obviously
it wasn't a flinch.
No,
he
it wasn't
fully
a flinch.
snapped it.
He snapped it. Oh, that's not a foul there. That's just everybody else not knowing, or the center not knowing the snap count. And that wasn't a dead ball foul. That looks like it's a good snap to me. And
right.
It's on the ground, and the quarterback's going, well, what do I do with that? Well, you better get on it.
Yeah, and during the game, I said to Joe, they must have called it a snap infraction, but looking at the replay, it's very obvious he fully snapped it.
He snapped it, and basically he snapped a dead football at that point, so nobody's going to get it. The only thing to do there would go, oops, sorry, I messed up, and we just reset and we go again.
Yeah.
Because it was fine.
And that's Kenton can't accept or decline that. It was a dead ball.
It was a dead ball foul, So whatever. As soon as
I guess they could decline it.
It's like it never happened at that point.
Right.
So they couldn't get anything out of it either. So they'll take the 5 yards and go if nothing else.
Right. So kind of fortunate for St. Mary's instead of a 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11
or Kenton having the football at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was a play. Some of the Kenton guys wanted a pass interference on it, but and I do think St. Mary's defender might have hit him a little early.
Oh, from this angle, it looks. I know the defender is trying to reach around, but was there early contact? Possibly. Boy, it sure looks that way to me. It sure looks that way. But again, you've got we're saying at least 3 guys, probably the linesman on our side not ruling that, and the umpire's not ruling it. So maybe it was cleaner than we thought.
Yeah.
And the fact that the receiver's going down to get the football, St. Mary's kid looks like is on him. But you know what? Those kids are falling together. Maybe it was good and clean.
Yeah, and whatever the St. Mary's defender did, he did a good job of making it look like he was just trying to get the ball there around there. This was late in the game, pretty nice hit on the quarterback from the St. Mary's defender. I just was curious as there was some kind of face mask to face mask contact, but was that a good clean hit according to all the rules?
That looks like a good clean hit to me. I mean, he come in there face up, which is fine. I mean, he didn't try to drive the helmet into the helmet of the quarterback. It looks fine from here. Let's look at it again. And somebody just gets through, and Yeah, that's fine. That's just, the quarterback kind of dips a little bit trying to get a step to get away. No problem there.
And then the final play that we want to talk about was Kenton's attempt at an onside kick here. Good job of St. Mary's of getting on the ball and recovering it.
Whoa, let's run that back again.
But it looked like a very offsides
Can we stop that now? Look at this.
Yeah.
That's a foul. That's a dead ball foul right there for encroachment. They should have shut it down, and we're going to reset and re-kick 5 yards later. That to me is pretty obvious.
Yeah, and it would, those don't bother me as much on deep kicks.
Right.
When you're doing an onside kick, that's a huge advantage.
That's a huge advantage right there. Yeah, because we're breaking that plane. We're playing, and the goal line or the free kick line is like a plane of glass. It goes all the way up to the infinity, and he's clearly broken that.
Right.
They tell us even if his feet aren't across, if the kickoff guy down there has got his hands across or his head breaking that plane of glass, in this situation, that's a foul.
Yeah. Should there have been so the line judge on the other side was set up at the 10-yard mark?
Well, we have the back judge down here, we're closest to us, and the umpire's on the other end. So apparently they didn't think that an onside kick was in the offing.
Okay.
If there had been, we'd have been looking at another guy. We'd have had two guys on the 40 and on the 50. So we got the umpire down here, and let's keep running here once to see if we can see a guy come in from the bottom.
Yeah.
They did have. They had the back judge because they were working a six guy
then.
So somebody was close. So they had it looked at, but the back judge here failed to catch the encroachment on the kicking team. And on an onside kick, that's critical.
Yeah.
Critical.
Well, there were lots of plays in this game. I think 160, 170 plays. So lots of clips and unfortunately lots of opportunities to have good and bad calls.
Sure.
So thank you for going through those. There was a couple of those that I thought were obvious bad calls that you corrected me. And
let's just say they weren't great. How about that?
That sounds good. So thanks again, Mark, for joining us. Rough Riders are going to be taking on Elida tonight, and we're hoping that we get a nice victory, and we'll have you back next week for some more clips.
Thanks, Zach.
We'll see you next week, everyone.
Thank you for watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by all of these fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Land, Douglas Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Tap House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Gwinnett Pizzeria, EFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.